Hello, everybody, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson. I wanted to come on a pre-recorded video today because I want to share with you a dream that I had 2 nights ago. It was really profound, and I truly feel this is where humanity is at the moment, just to give you an indication of where we are at and where we're going. So I want to go back to when on the 28th, 29th of March in 2020, when I had an experience of meeting oneness. Before I went into that experience of meeting oneness, I put my hands on Mother Earth. And you know, this is just before everything started going chaotic. Anyway, I put my hands on Earth and I become a pillar of light. And I was representing in my mind, in my story, humanity. And when I was there, I had this feeling of she was breathing really erratically. And I realized it was like she was in labor. She was going to give birth to something completely new here through humanity's consciousness or awareness. It was like a unification of humanity back into working with Gaia herself. I also saw a torus, like a donut shape, and Earth entering just in the vortex. Like a donut has that, you know, inner circle, and in the center of the inner circle of the vortex was just love. It was just this light, like kind of like the center of the galaxy kind of thing, just light, love itself. And so for us to get closer and closer to love itself, we move through this vortex, and we were just entering it in 2020, beginning of 2020. So the dream that I had just a couple of nights ago is, first of all, I was taken around the world. I went to Alaska, very cold climate. I think it was Alaska or Canada. And then I went to Tibetan place or Indonesian place, and I was interacting with the people there. It was like they were trying to sell something or something, but I was just interacting with them through love, the love of who I am. And then I met an Indian lady from India, and she had a child, and I sat down beside her and we started to chat about some things. And we didn't have any sort of language. We couldn't talk to each other because she only knew the India language, and I only knew English, so we couldn't converse. And then all of a sudden, through love of myself, I felt like I could, like we were having some sort of energetic communication. And she wanted to see me again after that, even though we couldn't talk, you know, to each other verbally and understand. So then what happened after that was I was flying high above everybody, and I went, oh my gosh, the whole of humanity is going through a massive change. I know we're going through changes. I understand that we're going through changes. That's not a issue here, but this was a massive shift coming up to. And I was yelling out above everyone, get ready, guys, we're going to change, we're going to change. Like, it was like, get ready. And then I looked below, and on the ground was this huge circle, and inside was a little dot. So it was a circle within a circle. So it was like seeing the observational point of consciousness itself, of entering into source energy, into that love of self. And years ago, I asked my guides to show me a symbol that was important, and they showed me the symbol of a circle with a dot in the middle. And I'm like, well, that's simple, because I didn't quite fully understand the concept of it in that moment. But now I recognize it as energy going from love out into an adventure, back to love, out into adventure. It's also the symbol for Ra. And Ra came up to me when I was in another dream where I was dancing with the Pleiadian male, and then he put his forehead on my forehead, and then he started to chant, and the first thing that came out of him is the only one that I can remember, started with Ra. So he was chanting through syllables, through a language, through vibration of that language, and then he'd turn his head and he would speak his own language, which was like an amalgamation of Egyptian cross Celtic, and then he pulled his head back and he was chanting these syllables through me. And then that happened 5 times, and as that was happening, I was waking up, and as I was waking up, my whole body was vibrating, like literally vibrating. And then I had this remembrance that I was his guide in another dimensional place, in Pleiades. I was his guide. I knew him very well. And I asked him to wake me up, or help me wake up. When I reached a certain vibrational meet, I asked him to wake me up. And so it was like I got to a certain point, or a level of awareness, where everything was going to break through. And then I started to have these energetic downloads, these wisdom downloads of Pleiadian stories or Pleiadian meditations and stuff. I started connecting with Pleiades in a great way. So coming back to that, I wanted to find out what Ra meant, and I looked it up on the internet, and I looked up Pleiadians Ra because it was a Pleiadian that sent it through me, and I knew that 100%. And the symbol came up for Ra was a circle with a dot in the middle, and they said it was a symbol of the sun of the sun, which is the point of entry where source, and then they showed me this. It's like everything's interweaving of what they showed me back then to what this dream was about, because then they showed me, when I asked the question of our reality, they showed me a light itself lying as a body. They said they can only show me in a very flat kind of a way, like 2-dimensional aspect of what this is all really about, 3-dimensional aspect of what this is really about, where it's way more expansive than what they're showing me. But they showed me in that moment source energy, God itself, whatever, lying as a light body, and then covering up part of itself, and it covered up its left leg, I think, just to show that it was covering something. And then in the blackness of that blanket that was completely black, they source energy pinpricked all these holes in the blanket, and the holes became the sun itself, every sun, every star. And so when source energy or itself wants to shift some sort of vibration on a planet that's revolving around the star or the sun, then it would send it through the sun or the star that those planets are revolving around. So there was a new energy coming through the sun, and that energy was very powerful. It was going to shift humanity's consciousness. Coming back to the dream that I had just a couple of nights ago, I'm the observer, and I can see now the Ra symbol that Pleiadians gave me, the first one, that only one that I can remember, as they were waking me up into a new story. That ended up being the symbol of Ra, which is the sun, which is the entrance of energy coming in, a new vibration coming in. And we were going to go through a massive shift. after I'm like yelling to everybody as I'm flying in this dream, saying, everyone, we're going to change. It's time. We're changing, you know. Everyone's going along on their day-to-day life sort of thing, but I'm flying above it going, oh my God. Then I got to a point where there was a baby in front of me, and the baby had water up to its nose, just above its nose. And when I picked the baby up, the water came with it. It was still not breathing. It was like it's in its embryonic fluid, or I've forgotten what that word is, but that fluid that's in the sac where the baby is, it was still like it could see things, but it was still not breathing. And I know babies in dreams mean creation, new beginnings, new something coming. But when I lifted it up, the water came with it. It's like I was observing humanity in this void of not quite breathing into the newness of itself and creating something new. And then the water just left the baby in front of me, and it took its first breath into creation, into being in this newness. So I definitely know that this point in the humanity's consciousness is almost like it's passing through the thread of passing into the dot that's in the center of that circle within the circle. Or if you look at it from above, if you see a donut from above, that's, you know, we're entering into the vortex. And because it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago that we entered into it, now I feel we're coming into, because time is so vastly huge as we go through this shift. But that's actually called the quickening, because when we go on the outer journey, it's going to take thousands of years. But anyway, here we are. I feel like we're entering into the love of ourself. And there's enough of us on Gaia now that's understanding how important it is to come back to the love of who we are and accepting who we are, and taking back all of that we gave away, all the power that we gave away through not acknowledging ourselves as love, and seeing someone else more powerful than us, rather than seeing ourselves as love itself. And so I really feel that there's enough of us now, tipping point, 100 monkey kind of thing, syndrome thing, where there's enough of us that have found self-love to vastly shift every consciousness that's connected to humanity's awareness. And that means our outside universe becomes that we are feeling within ourselves, love itself. So there's this huge shift that's happening at the moment, guys. And I love how I didn't even expect, before doing this pre-recorded video, I didn't expect all those other dreams and aspects to come in, but they're telling me that's all part of it. That was like little clues on the way to understanding what humanity is. And in the end, humanity is the higher consciousness is love itself, and to accept that within the boundaries or the limitations of the logical mind means that all we produce is love, and all we reflect back is love, and that means that we start creating peace on earth, utopia on earth. We're bringing in heaven on earth, if you want to go into the religious aspects of self. It's all part of the same story. But it's with balance of understanding our spiritual side, our soul side of ourself, which has entered this body, and our body and our mind that holds the program of limitations as well. But we can also, through understanding the soul coming in, if we go from that point of view, we can open up a million gifts outside of ourselves. So that I'm so excited about that. And that's another reason why I brought in the classes, which are coming up every 2 weeks. I do these bi-weekly classes called Teachings from Higher Dimensions, and the next one's going to be on telepathy. So yeah, not that this is a advertisement for that, but if it's brought up, it's brought up. So I'm bringing it up. Any case, the dream itself is so important to understanding how humanity is coming back to self-love. And I'm so excited about where we're going to go to from here, because everything's going to start shifting up. We're letting go of the limitations of fear, and we are starting to understand who thyself is, who we are, and that's going to change everything. So love you guys heaps. Let's see how this all plays out, eh? Bye.